it is.
Thank you, Zoom. All right. Oh, I forgot to change the text edition. What's up?
Was this the right one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't change the thing. All right, so welcome back. I meant to change that to something clever that doesn't say the same thing as last meeting, but it's stormy, so we're doing our best here. If you've been keeping up with our announcements, this week is going to be project pitches, and then we have just a few quick announcements, and then we'll get right into those. Thank you, Google Docs. Okay, so yes, this is the right slide. So next week we'll be having our optional social meeting, and we'll be taking votes at the end for that for location that we can walk to near campus for people who are interested in participating in that. That'll be during Labor Day. That is the holiday. Yes, Labor Day. Also, we will be having our historian elections at the end of the meeting today, and you have to be a dues paying member to either run as historian or to vote in the historian election. So you can either do that in cash or via Venmo, whatever works for you, if that's something that you're interested in, either running or voting. And of course, you don't need to have any materials prepared to run or anything ahead of time. No, right after the Labor Day meeting, we have a very special guest presenter, Jesse Shell. He is CEO of Shell Games. They've made some amazing VR titles, and they published like 30 games. This guy was one of the lead directors on Toontown Online and Pirates of the Caribbean MMO way back in like the early 2000s, and he's also a professor at Carnegie Mellon. He's written one of the most iconic books on game design. And he will be speaking to us on September 13th. He has a presentation prepared, but he'll also be open for, we have an extended Q&A session set up. So if you have questions about game design, VR design, the game industry, this is a really cool opportunity to have those answered. So I hope that some of you guys check that out. Oh, apparently, yeah. This is really, really awesome. This may be the best or the highest profile guest speaker we've ever had. So I really hope you guys are interested in potentially checking that out. So without further ado, our projects for this semester are Project Octagon, which will be this will be the order that they are presented. I believe this was renamed to Chromatic. Chromatic, yes. We'll tweak it later. Rogue Souls-like, Mad Men First Contact, and Stop Motion. So Project Octagon, please step up.
Okay, so I'm Andrew. This is Project Octagon, which is a turn-based strategy game and on an octagonal grid, octagonal, whatever you choose how to pronounce that. So the theme of this is that there are two global superpowers that are fighting over a distant country for, resources or something. Do they need a reason? No. And it's your job as one of those nations general to completely knock your opponent out of the country so that you can have full domination. So the actual game side of things, as I said, you're going to try and wipe your opponent off the map. And that means you want them to have no octagons of their color remaining on the board. I'll get on how to do that. So you alternate turns. Each turn, you get a choice between either expanding or building. So when you expand, that means you can turn an octagon adjacent to one of your own octagons to your color. So as you can see, the green check marks, those are where you can expand into because they're adjacent to the octagon of blue's color. And you can't go to the ones in X because there's a square there, so you can't go through the square. Second, if you're expanding into a territory that has an enemy's color in it, you just turn it to neutral. So through that, you can turn it to neutral and then expand again to take it over. The second and probably more important action when you do it is building. Those squares are where you can put buildings. Buildings allow you to do things like with the barracks, they give you one more octagon any single time you expand. So that becomes really powerful the more and more barracks you make. But there's also all kinds of other buildings like bunkers, which can protect your area, factories, which let you build more buildings, and armories, which let you blow up your opponent's buildings. So to build something, you have to have it completely surrounded by your octagons, and then you can put it in that square. So for that top square, you couldn't build there because it's already taken up. For the two right squares, you can't build there because it's not fully surrounded. And then the left, that's perfect because it's empty and it's fully surrounded by your octagon. So you have to have full control. So the board will kind of look like that eventually. This game's all about choosing when to expand, when to build. Do I have the time do I have the octagons to waste to allow my enemy to get more territory because I desperately need to build a barrack to keep up with them? It's all about that, trying to build the right buildings at the right time, trying to take over territory. What territory should you take? There's a lot of decisions to be made there. So the features we got planned, I think it's completely feasible to have this all completed by the end of the semester. It's not too bad programming wise, at least looking at it now. Obviously there's going to be problems, there always are. But in terms of actual gameplay features, there's going to be quite a lot of buildings that hopefully fulfill their own role. There's going to be factions, so each player gets to choose their own faction leader, and those factions have unique abilities so that you can have weird strategies. There's insurgents, because no small country with two foreign superpowers is without those. So they're automated, so they'll fight and just randomly expand and be a general nuisance. There's terrain for more variety with the octagons to challenge you, or maybe you serve as a point where you want to take it. And events, because sometimes randomness is good. So currently we're planning local 1v1 multiplayer because there's not any hidden information. So that means you can just do same board, same keyboard, just swapping on and off until someone's won. And the stretch goal here is to have a single player AI, and I'll get kind of into that later. So as for people we need, you definitely need a programmer. That's a thing you need for video games. I don't really care what engine. I think it'd be best as 2D. I don't think there's any reason to make it into a 3D game. And along with that, having a 2D artist. I can't draw. Maybe one of you can. I was thinking for kind of a propaganda style, but that's up to your discretion. Again, the stretch goal, have someone work on just the AI so that this is it's interesting, almost like you're fighting a player when you're going against an AI. And yeah, there's no such thing as too much help. This is no way exhaustive. If we have too many people working on it, cool, because that means we can make a lot more than was originally planned. So yeah, that's about it. I do have the prototype there. This is a board game made into a video game, basically. So if you want to play the game or you just want to see a demo of it, it's right there. We can do that after the meeting. So thank you guys.
More of a general question. So how do we show interest?
Okay, so good question, very good question. So after everyone has presented, we'll have people go off into the corners of the room, and our guests online, we have Discord channels already set up for each of the projects. So project leaders, keep an eye on that Discord so that you can hear people in the voice chats if they have questions about your project. And if you're here, as you all are, then you can go and talk with that person after all the presentations, so you can decide if that project is something that you want to work on.
Also, I think this is our fault because we forgot to mention it, but after the project pitches, it should be open to questions. So if anybody has questions about this project pitch, feel free to ask.
Okay, so this is a big one. It looks like for the factories, we can get more builds per turn.
Yeah, so basically every single building goes off of what action you take.
Hmm.
So with the barracks, when you expand, you get an extra octagon. And with the factories, when you build, you get to build an additional thing. Every other building, like there's like a missile silo that will go off of one of those actions. Like when you build, you can launch a missile.
So you're trying to alternate which ones go.
Yeah.
I had a bit of like a rules question. You mentioned that like after a building is constructed, it's controlled by whoever has the most octagons around it. What happens if it's 2 and 2?
So it's just completely neutralized, no one uses it. So that is actually a interesting strategy that comes out sometimes where you can either try and take the building for yourself or just say, all right, I want to just take away my opponent's ability to expand and just push as hard as I can.
The way you're speaking, have you played this study?
Well, I wouldn't say heavily. I played maybe 15 games, but that's just me and my roommate.
Mhm.
And I've been wanting to take it slow, so I haven't done like all of those features at all. I've been trying to do basic mechanics, make sure it's, fine. But I think it is at this point, rather than, submitted it.
Okay, I'll do this game.
Is it inspired by Go at all?
No.
So you got one back there?
Gameplay, it sounds like once one player has an advantage, it's just a snowball effect. Are there any ideas in place if the other player wants to get back in the game or once they lose advantage?
Yeah, so that's I think probably the biggest design aspect is when you go first, you certainly get a huge advantage there. That's the main point of both the insurgents and the events, because those the insurgents, how you handle them, it's not going to be that big of a deal. There's kind of a bit of a roadblock, but the events will not necessarily target the leading player, but more often than not will kind of put something a bit in their way. Sorry, I'm kind of vague about it, but I don't have anything set in stone for that.
All right, if we don't have any more questions, Chromatic will be the next game that we have a project pitch for.
All right, hi, I'm Brandon and my project is Chromatic. All right, so the main idea of our project is it's a platform Metroidvania style game. You gain color as you go. So basically the game will start black and white. After each boss, you'll gain abilities, weapons, stuff like that based on the color. And the game will become more colorful as it goes. So progression style, you'll defeat a boss and you'll gain a crystal that allows you to put it in like a chest in the main level. And every time you do that, stuff will start to appear. For example, vines will start to grow, or rivers will start to fill, and it unlocks new access to areas. And we wanted to have it artistic as possible if we have artists in the room. And at the beginning of the game, it'll be a pretty simple soundtrack that'll escalate as you defeat more bosses and expand into new areas. Similar to Metroid and Hollow Knight in terms of art style and progression and combat and stuff like that. We want to have a simple combat at the beginning and it becomes more arcadey as you go. You'll gain dashes, you'll gain jumps, double jumps. For example, if you kill the green boss, you'll gain a boost that allows you to double jump. If you defeat the yellow boss, you get a shining armor and stuff like that. So project goals, we'd love to have a simple combat system, multiple levels, and obviously the color is important, so color progression system. And then our reaches would be some pretty complex bosses that are similar to like the colors. So if you have a green boss, it'll shoot vines. If you have a water boss or a blue boss, it'll shoot water and stuff like that. And then we want like a wow factor if we have the chance. When you kill a boss, it should be like, wow, there's a whole new level in areas that you didn't really think about. And then the future goals, potentially after the 9 weeks are up, or if we get ambitious, we would like a final boss at the end and a storyline to be integrated. So what we need, we already have a lot of game devs, but we always want more for software end. We have 4 and we'd like to have up to 7 as a maximum. But artists and producers for sound, really, we want them to put any influence they want in the game. No specific art style. We don't have any specific art style. So whatever you want to do, feel free. just as long as it fits the theme of the game. And then same with the sound. We want to start with simple instruments, and then at the end, it should be kind of an orchestra of stuff that comes together. And yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
It's like 2D, right?
Oh, yeah. So we're doing a 2D platformer in Unity. Yeah.
You gotta be like pixel art or like,
Honestly, we're open to anything. We really want whoever's designing the art to put their influence on it, because we want the theme of the colors progression system to be in place, but anything besides that, for sure. Yeah. Unity for sure. Any other questions? All right, awesome.
Thank you.
you Bob, but it's Mediterranean.
I hate Zoom.
Yeah, me too.
Why does
It's
that thing
terrible.
pop up? I have to check because I have no attention span. Okay. Which one? Where's the slides for this? Right here. We did it. We got it. All right. Our next game is Rogue Souls Light. I'm throwing my clip. Hey, my name is David. This is my project, Rogue Souls Light, which is definitely a working title. I really haven't come up with any good name for it. I guess that'll be something I come up with as I discuss lore or story or something. But the main idea is basically a mixture of things I like from Slay the Spire and Dark Souls. I really like Dark Souls combat. That's really kind of slower pace. You have to be very careful. You have to manage your stamina and that kind of thing, and have a different selection of weapons, and also rolls with iframes, but not spammable. You have to time your rolls. You have to be precise with everything. But I think that would be interesting in kind of a rogue-like formula, such as Slay the Spire, where you start at the bottom of some kind of level and you pick different nodes, and you can say, okay, there's an enemy here, or there's a shop here. And it's if I go to the shop, then I might be able to buy things, but I miss out on gold from the enemy. But the shop is safer, and because I don't have to fight an enemy, but I could miss out on looting the enemy. So I like that kind of decision making as going which one is more beneficial to me in the long run. I think that kind of decision making fits in well with the slower, more careful nature of Souls type combat. And yeah, so here's some more information. It's going to have permadeath, procedurally generated levels. So if you're interested in doing some kind of procedurally generated game, we're going to have a lot of that. There will be obviously boss fights at the end of each zone. Different perks you can get, I don't know, maybe a perk that makes it so that you have less health, but you get more iframes on your roll. So you can have a bunch of different builds if you want to go for lots of invincibility, low health, kind of like a glass cannon type thing. A bunch of different perks that can make each build very different. And some specifics, it's going to be 2D top down, kind of perspective. If anyone's seen Hotline Miami, kind of a similar perspective to that. It'll be in the libgdx engine, which is written in Java. I don't know if anyone's used that. It can do both 2D and 3D. I think it's more suited for 2D. It's really good because one, it's in Java, which is a programming language everyone here has to learn if you're a computer science major, and I think software engineering as well. So a lot of people will be familiar with it. And it gives you a lot of control. Things like Game Maker and Unity are very good, don't get me wrong, but you're kind of forced to work within the way they want you to structure things. And so if you do things with libgdx, it is a bit more tedious at first, but you do get a lot more control down the line in terms of what's going on, which I liked personally. And level design will be done in Tiled, which is open source software. It's super easy to use if you've never used it before. It's going to be designed to be played with a controller because it's just more comfortable for these kind of games. Mouse and keyboard for Souls games have never really been designed around that, but it will be able to be played on mouse and keyboard as well, so that anyone can play it. And in terms of who I need, obviously programmers, I would say art is probably the biggest thing. 2D art specifically, any kind of style, I don't really mind. Anyone well-versed in music as well, that would be nice to have. But yeah, just the basic stuff. And I'm also super flexible with the project. I don't have a lot of idea about like lore, story, character design, any of that stuff. So it's very open to like contribution if you think you have any good ideas for that. And I think that's all for my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
So it's a 2D top-down game,
Mhm.
and I imagine you'll have melee combat because it's Souls-like.
Yeah,
So I'm just wondering, like, what the melee combat is gonna be. Is it gonna be like a sword out front, or is it kind of like a poke?
it depends on, ideally, far enough down the line, it'll be like what weapon you have. So there'll be like broadswords will be more swinging, or like a rapier will be more of a poke, or a spear will have like longer range. So I want there to be different weapon types for your build. So up there.
You use Slay the Spire as an example,
Mm.
like a specific design choice that they made in Slay the Spire that you want to like kind of.
Mainly the node system, where it's like it's not your like super roguelike or traditional, where it's like you have a bunch of rooms and you have to pick them. It's more so you have a bunch of interconnected nodes, kind of like a web, and you go up. And I thought that was a lot more interesting because it adds a lot more decision making to your paths, instead of just like, I don't know, this way seems kind of cool, and seeing where it leads. So it adds a lot of planning, and I like that a lot.
So like having a map. And then-
Right, yeah.
So for the node system, are you kind of thinking like, you've ever played Faster Than Light, the map in between, where you have to choose the next, like,
Yeah, very similar to that kind of thing.
Right.
Yes. Is that everybody?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next game will be Mad Men First Contact. Right here. I just use these. Hi, my name's Anish, and this is the pitch for Mad Men First Contact. So this is a first-person horror Souls-like set in an H.P. Lovecraft-inspired pirate world. In this game, a pirate crew member is set on an unfortunate course as he watches his crew perish and tries to take revenge. He ends up on an island where he stumbles upon an ancient tomb where he kickstarts the end of the world. So this game was written as a prologue of a larger project, but first things first, the gameplay. So this is an action game first and foremost, and as such, combat will be the first main focus of our development this semester. Our protagonist has a sword and a pistol, like Dishonored or Bloodborne, and a sword parry mechanic will allow players to always have a way to defend themselves, while scarce but powerful ammo will give them a good incentive to look around to find advantages against their enemies. For this vertical slice, the level design style will be linear because time limits and also content. So now that we're on the topic, let's talk about scope. So the first goal, obviously, is to have a good combat system set up for the player, have the enemies and the bosses, able to fight them. And then after that, these are the stretch goals. 2 levels. The first one's on a pirate ship, with the top deck being the tutorial and the bottom deck being a combat encounter. And the second level is on an ancient island tomb, which will be mostly ambiance and build up for the boss. So the total gameplay time shooting for is about 10 to 25 minutes, depending on how hard the player finds it, which is hopefully pretty hard. So this is the one on the right is the boss concept I came up with for this game. And then on the left, you can see some of the inspirations I had. And for the graphic style, I was inspired by, I was thinking of like a pirate game that I really liked, and I liked the Sea of Thieves. So I envisioned this as kind of like a low poly simplified meshes in the Sea of Thieves style, but creepier. And so combat is going to be a very contained approach to difficulty. It's not going to be like hordes of
guys running at you that you have to cut down. It's gonna be a handful of enemies, but make them difficult. And the team needs for the project are 1 or more engineers / coders and as many artists are willing to join. I'll take all of you. 3D art, obviously. So here's a mood board I made for like just kind of that ambiance of the game. And at this point, I'll open it up to questions. If y'all have any.
You have an internet line?
Unity, sorry, yeah. Yes,
What kind of enemies will you be facing? Will they all be like Lovecraftian horrors, or will there be some leftover like?
so the boss was the only Lovecraftian horror that you're gonna fight in this one. The rest of them, I was just regular humanoids. Anything else?
That's humanoids like pirates that are mad.
Yeah.
No, you're not mad.
Hmm?
Is the main dude not mad?
Well, he goes mad.
Okay, he goes mad.
He goes
So you're
mad.
saying can all the mad dudes and then.
It's a very
Oh, okay.
it's a very depressing story. But yeah. Anybody else? All right, that's it. And here's my contact. Anybody?
All right, our last project pitch for the evening is stop motion. Oh, it's also there. Yes, thanks. Here we are.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Nick, and I'm here to present this stop motion project. So basically, the idea is to create a video game where instead of traditional 2D or 3D animation, real life captured stop motion animation is being used. And there is only very small number of existing video games that use this technique. Maybe one of the first and like the one that is considered classic is The Neverhood. And it was a puzzle. There are another 2 projects. I think Harold Halibut is already, like they already have a listing in Steam. Vocabulantis is not launched yet. So both of them are newer projects, richer projects. Harold Halibut is storytelling walking simulator, and Vocabulantis is more of a puzzle platformer. And as far as I know, both of them are point and click games. So, oh, can we do this? Yeah. Oh, it opened in Nasty Edge. Nice. Yeah.
My name's Donut, and I'm
So
a huge part of the spaceship right from the beginning of the game.
this is how a puppet game looks like.
While the professor will always have tasks waiting for you, the wonderfully weird rest
Of course, this is like very highly
which was very important for us.
professionally made game. We will not get into that just in a matter of months. But what I actually wanted to show,
Grammarly can
come
help.
on,
This
what I actually wanted to show you is, it doesn't understand it's a link. Okay, I'll Google it. So unlike Harold Halibut, Vocabulantis actually also showed the process. The idea is that each character, each object in the game are animated separately, and then each sequence is used as a sprite inside the game. So yeah, there were shots of this. So the challenge here is that all these games are puzzles point and click. And what I'm thinking of trying is not point point and click, but more control rich game, something like Mario, classic Mario, or classic Prince of Persia. Of course, 2D, not 3D. So I do not aim high. If we produce at least a couple of minutes of gameplay, ideally like 5 minutes, that will be a huge win, because unlike traditional animation, creating puppets, animating them, understanding you did it wrong will take much longer time than just editing images or 3D models. So basically, this is a proof of concept. I had some ideas about game design, but I want to I want to leave this open so we can discuss what this can actually be. And we will need to create the puppets and the models. So there are some specific puppet kits, there are some specific puppet rigs, but I guess we will try to be more simplistic, just skeletons from wires and the body from clay, paper, clothing, nothing super fancy, not high-end puppets. So for stop motion animating, the lab I'm working at, we have a storage room which can actually be used for stop motion. There is a nice table there, and we can arrange some lights. And additionally, if I remember correct, the library has a studio, but I don't know on what conditions the studio can be used. They have studio, they have like actually professional cameras. So for coding, I consider Unity, and I do not consider this as a coding extensive project. So because of that, I think this, if you are new to coding, this may be a good fit to you, because you will have less tasks, more time to learn them and to do them better. And I think 3-4 people in the team at most, because otherwise there may not be just enough tasks and we can just start to bottleneck each other. Yeah, and I forgot to put my contacts. I'll do it now. I can't. Okay. Because it's not editable.
I can send it out later.
Mm.
But any questions?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so before we split off and do that, we are going to go ahead and hold our historian elections. Yes, you have a question?
One more generic question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, for future semesters, I
Yes.
want to show interest in leading the project.
Yeah, yes, you can contact us if you want to lead a project in a future semester, and it's a very simple process. You just have to email us some specifics about the project and then go through an interview, and then you'll be all set. So yeah, dues first.
Yeah, so we're about to do the historian election, and in order to run or vote in that, you do have to be a dues paying member. Normally, these are not done at the very beginning of a semester, but last semester, nobody wanted to be a historian. So if you do want to run or vote in this election, you do need to either have already paid dues or pay those dues now. Dues are $10 for the year, not the semester, the whole year. And those can be paid in cash or to our Venmo. So,
And you might ask what kind of responsibilities, what kind of role is historian? So we have a pretty cool website, and being a historian, we all kind of work on the website a little bit, but historian has the most sway in terms of how they want that to look. They also help us archive some of our Game Jam project games and of course, our semester projects, which you've just heard the pitches for this semester. And they also help with posting and running our Instagram and Twitter. I bet you didn't know that we had an Instagram or a Twitter. You can follow us there. And you'll officially be a TigerDev officer. So that means you get a different colored Discord name. So if anyone is interested in running, the floor is yours. You're more than welcome to come up and, give a 1 or 2 sentence summary or more if you have that on why you'd like to be historian, if this seems like something that interests you. If someone on Zoom would want to be a historian as well, you're more than welcome to. We can hear you. Yeah, we have an offer right here. Yes, of course, you can definitely still run if you're on Zoom. You can go ahead and speak now. We should be able to hear you.
Yeah, does anybody here want to run?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Our treasurer is not here at the moment, but
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to touch it, but we're gonna anyway. So yeah, if nobody else wants to run, Anaya, if you can unmute yourself, you can say a little bit about yourself and then we can get to voting.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Anaya. I just joined the club, so nice to meet everyone. I'm a graphic design student, so I thought that this would kind of fit in what I do. So I thought it would be fun to do that. And yeah, I'm currently also, I was minoring in computer science for a little bit, so I don't know what else I can say.
All right, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we do, for club reasons, actually have to vote, even though only one person is running.
please brace yourself.
We'll post the link to that poll in a second. Again, technically, only allowed to vote if you're a dues paying member, so
Honor system.
yeah.
Please don't rig our
We
election.
literally cannot, yeah, our 1-person election. Although I guess technically there's a no confidence option. Don't do that. That's rude.
Okay, I'm going to post that in general.
Yeah, so that is in Discord. If anybody wants to go vote for that, then we'll finally have a historian.
What a struggle it's been.
It's been really bad. I don't know how Twitter works.
Even the people who use Twitter don't know that.
Yeah.
But it's already an election.
It was close.
I'll give it another minute. Do I have to vote to be able to see the results?
What?
This struggle.
This terrible news.
Yeah, why can't I view the results? That's not working. I guess it's because we're on
Alright.
university Wi-Fi. It's like a prevention thing.
Straw poll with prevention.
We'll do it the old-fashioned.
I'm so tired. I am broken.
Show of hands, who votes for Anaya for historian? 1, 2, 3, 4. 10. All right, who has no confidence? Right, we did it.
All right, congratulations to our new TigerDev historian. for what to eat next week, or is that not important?
I think we do need to do that because, I mean,
Okay, yeah.
we can do that in
Yeah.
physically as well. First of all, we do need to determine if we're gonna even do that. So for the social meeting next week, raise your hand if you are like at all interested in it doing that.
Whoa,
Okay.
that's exciting.
All right, so that is actually a lot more than I expected. So let me pull up my list of restaurants within walking distance of campus.
Did you actually write a list?
Technically, I have pictures of Google Maps because I forgot to make the list until like 10 minutes before this started.
We run a tight ship here.
We really do. Where's the thing?
You can just write modes. You don't need to put the other ones down.
Moe's is a good option. Moe's is
not-
a
I'm not
little
gonna-
far though.
Modes is a little far.
We're gonna go by like a region on Google Maps here.
We need to take pictures.
I don't think so. We're just gonna take those. We've got BurgerFi. Luke's. Tzatziki's. This is not gonna hold up the whole way, is it? Not much better. Beyond the walk. Next region. That's a lot. Okay, we're gonna go to the small one first. Chipotle. We'll put better Chipotle right next to it.
I'm gonna dox you for that.
And then the various Tumor's Corner restaurants, that's Five Guys. Yeah, Little Italy.
Little Italy's before midnight? What is this? I like it. It's slept on.
Oh, my friend's called it.
There might be such a thing as too many options.
Yeah, you might get to call the weak ones here.
Yeah, what we're gonna do here is just go in order and see if which ones get 0 votes, and then from the ones that actually get votes, we'll have an extra, or I guess, well, we don't.
Let's speed run the vote. I
Yeah,
think.
speed run the vote.
Everyone just call out.
I think that's good.
Okay, taking votes for BurgerFi. Taking votes for Tzatziki's. Taking votes for Chipotle. Taking votes for better Chipotle. 1, 2, 3.
Hold on, we gotta check chat.
Chat, type fast when I say the name. Any votes for nukes? 1, 2, 3. 3 votes for nukes. Beyond the Walk. 1 for Beyond the Walk.
I'll vote for that one too.
2 for Beyond the Walk.
2.
3 for Beyond the
3.
Walk. Five Guys.
There's actually 4 for modes because 3 people voted and then 1 person. The better Chipotle.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, that does count for modes. We take those.
Five Guys had none. Little Italy. That's a 6.
3 for Little.
4.
4.
4 for Little Italy.
Fusion.
5, 6.
6. So 7. All right.
7.
Hey.
Connor changed, or sorry, Anderson changed his votes to Italy.
8. This is so sad. Yeah. I love being Fusion. Mellow mushroom. Arigato sushi. All right, we got a winner.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So for that, we'll just, obviously, if you want to, you can just go to Little Italy's, or I and any other officers who are going to be present will probably be here and then walk to Little Italy's from there. So you can come here or go straight to Little Italy's.
That'll be at 6 during our regular meeting time.
It will.
And we will not be streaming that one via Zoom. I'm terribly sorry. Okay, so the moment that you've all been waiting around for. So if we can get various project leaders to various corners of the room, you guys have already conveniently pretty much split up there. So if we could have stop motion in the far right, chromatic in the far left, project Octagon, bottom left. You could take the middle. What is the project name? I said this a minute ago. Help me out, please. Yes, Madmen. And Souls Like can take bottom right. And I would like to ask all project leaders to keep an eye on Discord in case anyone on Zoom wants to hop into the voice chat and talk to you about it. I know it might not be the least cumbersome thing, but please do assist in answering their questions. It would also be a good idea so all project leaders can add, you have authorization to add people to your respective Discord text channel and you can communicate that way. And without further ado, go discuss projects.
I could just like, DM questions like, oh, it's in less dollars.
Yeah,
Or not like-
you should probably verify that with Tristan. Right, see you, Anderson. I think we can go ahead and close the Zoom.
I've got a quick question real quick.
Alrighty, we will go ahead and be closing the Zoom for anyone who's listening. So thanks for coming out. Feel free to pop into the Discords of the various projects and talk about things. But yeah, that's all we have. So hope to see you guys soon.